I think you're 100% spot on. So this part, because somebody said, I think see through you said it. My daughter, same circumstance. A boy grab her, try to throw out the section. She pretty small too, and she poke him and kill him. Are we having the same conversation? Because if it's predicated on physical prowess, right, and how we see it, is it gender? Is it physical prowess? Is it both of those things? Because the stature of these two boys is maybe 3 inches in height and 70 pounds, 60 pounds or so. So how are we making these determinations?
Nah,
What is it predicated on?
it would definitely be different, and it would be more sympathetic and understandable if it was a girl to a boy.
Mm-hmm.
It was a girl to a boy. I think most people would be like, hey, you know, don't pick on a girl, and people are going to be even if it's still wrong, right? But
Mm-hmm.
and I say this, had he just pushed the girl the same way, just pushed her, not punched her, no other shit or whatever, people will still be like, hey. But because it's not though, that's what I'm saying. So if you do a whataboutisms, we can flip it, turn it, and pretzel it any type of way. But
Okay.
I mean, it's two boys.
Okay. Shaw, what's popping? Come on, what's goody?
What's good, Hal? What's up, panel?
Good man. Good. Good.
I didn't make it to the beginning of the show, so I'm not sure what I missed. But when I saw the title, I said I definitely want to jump in talking about race wars. I mean, I'll be strategic about how I talk about this thing because I know it's a very sensitive topic. But I often think about, the idea of a race war and like what that means for Black people in general. This particular case, I think outside of it being a white and a Black kid, and also someone potentially passing, I don't know how interesting this case actually is compared to just what happens in America all the time. But I do know that there's like a deliberate like thing going on to get us. In particular, if you're a student of history, you always know like the people who are really in power, they enjoy watching the rank and file, everyday man, Black and white in particular, do this kind of clashing thing, and to get us to argue and fight about things like this because, the people at the top who are in power, they want to stay in power, and these types of topics kind of keep them in position. Um, and so I think particularly for Black people, if we just talk about the idea of a race war, I'm kind of moving past the conversation about the kids. If you don't mind, help. My opinion on that is, I think about myself particularly. I consider myself to be a scary person. When I moved to my first neighborhood, I had some kids try to break in my car, and I shot at one of them. I shot at them because at that time they was in my yard or whatever, right? And the police basically told me if I would have hit them, I would have went to jail. I was kind of confused. I understand the law a little bit better now, and I'm saying it to say I just think in the heat of like a battle, it's kind of hard to say what you would do. You know what I mean? It's just really difficult. We all can preach what you should, but in the event I was somewhere and some kids start barking at me and they had a knife, I can't say for sure I wouldn't pull it out. You know what I mean? And use it to defend myself. It's just one of them things where it's just hard to know when help. So
Yeah, 100% of the time, bro.
mhm.
This is what I do know. If a nigga got it on him, he gonna pull it. That's a fact.
Yeah,
I don't care if he pump fake or whatever.
yeah,
People gonna say, "Hey, you better nigga be flash dancing, all types of stuff."
yeah.
I don't see myself unless it was a cordial invite. If I get into what's that shit called when you driving and shit, and then people get into
Road
like,
rage.
yeah. If a nigga get out the car and say, "Hey, I would like to uh you know fist
Engage
fight,"
in fisticuffs.
yeah, I may oblige, right? Just because I'm interested in that. But otherwise, somebody probably gonna get shot as soon as we get out the car, right? Even when people pull up, like if somebody like doing the beep and shit, you know how they go, right?
Mm-hmm.
People kind of pull up on side. Almost immediately, I make sure I got my car holster
Mm-hmm.
where I can reach my shit. And it's not even like I want to. It's just that's the next thing. If I got it on me, that's the next thing for most people.
Right. Most people.
Well, it say it's better to be judged by 6 than I forgot.
Judged by 12,
Yeah,
carried
judge
by
by
Yeah,
6.
yeah.
by six.
That's a real thing since the beginning of time. You got a weapon. You got it. You're gonna use it. You're not gonna say, well, in this situation, he has
Mhm.
fists. it's just one of them things. You just just how it happens. So I don't know, man. But
So,
go ahead, T.
Buddy said black people are emotional. So was white people emotional when they found dude innocent that when they did all that shit to Rodney King and all of these others? Are they emotional when they do that? I love how we're emotional because we have an opinion. White people actually put action into play. They're not emotional.
I always find it interesting, particularly when black people say that, because if we were as emotional as people say we was, all the shit that has happened to us throughout history, and we still able
We'd have
to
been tearing shit.
sit next to white people and be cordial and build and all that, if we were just so emotional and not able to deal with our emotions as people say we are, America won't look the way it won't look the way it does. That's just the reality of the situation. Because when you read the history of what happened, and we can read all that and still, like, you know what, it was the past, let's move forward. That shows we're not as emotional as people say we are. Well, it's some logic that stops us from crashing out.
Well, I don't. Most people aren't capable of crashing out, for one. And you're talking about the reaction of the group as a whole when certain shit happens and it gets overblown. Now, what you did allude to, Shy, is that a lot of the times this shit is media and promoted. It's purposely done that way. And like I said, Matt Walsh, that is a piece of shit for inciting this shit. But you got to understand too, you can't be all this whatever, right? When it happens to black people, and when white people react the same way, now it's a problem. White people, you got to give people the same motherfucking level of a response, like niggas did for George Floyd, like you did for Breonna Taylor, like you did for all these other people in a situation where it's a fucked up situation. A kid got killed. Now, should the race have ever been put into it? Like, I think I forget who said it, but like the father said, "Hey, this is not racial. Please don't make it racial." But white people mad about a whole bunch of other shit, and some of them are just looking for a reason to turn it into that, and point out the whole situation. But at the same time, bro, you don't gotta do the despicable shit that other people doing, because some niggas out here wilding, bro. Saying that it's okay for a kid to kill a kid is just despicable. It's going too far.
Yeah, and I think I want to say, I think we all agree with you, Fantastic. It's not okay for a kid to kill a kid. I think we all. I'm gonna just go out on a limb and say we all agree with that, right? What annoys me is when incidences like this happen, it's almost like people think that black people can't think critically, too. Like we always base it on like we look at the facts too. We look at all the surrounding, factual information and everything. And what I'm about to say, I just want to say it has no reflection on DJ HAMP and his show. But you did play what's this dude's name is Tatum, Officer Tatum. Yeah. I just want to go on record and say that dude is an idiot, bro. That dude is like one of the biggest idiots to me on YouTube. Cause listen, I remember the Sonya Massey situation. He basically painted that lady as the aggressor. And now look at what's going on. Sean Grayson, right? The lady's killer is trying to get his case removed from Sangamon County. You know why? You know why he's trying to get his case moved out of that county? Cause he finna get buried. He know it. And so here's the thing, like when it happened, I'm just looking around like, are they really blaming this lady? So here's the thing. Is it really that a lot of black people can't critically think? Why can't other races of people get accused of the same thing? Especially COONs like Officer Tatum. Like that's just crazy. That's all I want to say. It's just like I don't even like that's just that Sonya Massey incident. It just proves that dude he's very biased and he's placating to his audience. Why would somebody even believe this dude? He's an idiot. That's all I want to say.
Well, let me ask you a question, Flo, and then I'll get Sean. And Sean was popping. When you hear the arguments, right? Black people, when it comes to topics like this, black people are emotional. Black people complaining, not thinking straight, super duper racist, right? What do you think? What do you think when you hear that? You think it's true?
I think that there is a tendency to make things about race when it's not. Like this situation, I don't think that there's any reason to see it as racial at all. I think it's a race bait. and at this point, and I think it's just that's just poor thinking. But I don't think that's.
Do you think that black people like go for the race card maybe more than we should?
Yes, I think they do, but I also think that it's not exclusive. I think people are tribal and emotional, and project themselves into situations, right? So people are looking at this, and a lot of people aren't really even giving a fuck about the kids. Not to, point out Tommy, but pointing at all these other things to help make a decision about that have nothing to do with this case. So, such as Trayvon Martin, right? That
No, so my reaction to that was the reaction that I saw people have to justify that. And what I'm saying is, when we do that, what the super chat say, we're emotional. So that was my question for that. But
don't you? I mean, you mic cut off. It doesn't seem like a good way to assess a decision by looking at how other people reacted to a different decision.
Like I said, Carmelo Anthony, he's if you look at his group of friends, because they show pictures, they've showed pictures. He has a plethora of friends. Like he has white friends, he got Hispanic. Like he doesn't just hang around black kids. So it's not. I don't think it was a racial thing either. I think it was just a self-defense thing.
No, I don't. So because I don't want to get that mistaken. My point was, especially like, what'd you say the population was, Hamp?
Of the city? 240.
Okay, so I don't know how many of y'all have been in a city where the population has been like that or less, and then the population breakdown by races like that. But I've been to cities like that in California, Texas, Florida. It's usually undertones there for whatever the fuck reason. It usually is.
Let me break this down real quick. 240,000 people in the city, right? 50% white, 30% Asian, 10% Latino, 10% black, and then the other was whatever the percentage left, right?
Yeah.
And so the school that Karmelo went to, 70% black. The other school that they went to is 10% black. So they go to different schools. You see?
Okay.
Yeah. So Karmelo went to Centennial. Those two went to Frisco Memorial.
Yeah.
So
but the city is 240,000, so that's a pretty small city. So
and Tommy, when I said I don't think it's when I said I don't think it's racial, I was talking about on Carmelo's behalf. You know, I don't think he did that because it was a white boy. It was a white kid.
I don't necessarily think it was on either side. But what I'm saying is, in a lot of those cities, like I said, like when my parents moved to the suburbs, it was a undertone there. Like we knew places where we shouldn't go, and we knew places where we could go. If you went to Old Elk Grove, it was a chance you was gonna get messed with. If you was on Elk Grove by I-5, we was cool as the wind. And that's not something that's literally like you get a paper when you move there and go, hey, this is how it is. That's something that's, as you experience, you go, oh, okay, my uncle lived by I-5. I'm over there all day, every day, don't have no problems. The moment you pass 99 and go to Old Elk Grove, you getting pulled over all the time, literally not receiving any tickets, just getting pulled over. What you doing here? Whose car is this? Yada, yada, yada. My mom's car's getting spray painted with the N-word. They put maxi pads on it. You know what I'm saying? My little brother's walking with one of their friends. They drive by. You N-word lover. But a lot of these situations, like if you're not like that, you won't be privy to it. So I had a friend, and nobody would have knew he's friends, but he was an old white guy, like 58 or something like that. He passed during COVID. But I met him in that city that I told you about, Lodi, California, one time at a Denny's. Him and his family was there. The only black guy that walked in. I didn't even notice the people staring at me. When I sat down at the table, he's the one that looked at me and goes, you didn't see them staring at you coming in? Nah. Damn, that's the first. In his head, he's like 58. That's the first time I've ever seen something like that.
Yeah.
So,
let me say this. Let me just baseline this real quick. Hey, man, salute to everybody. What's up, Beans? What's up? Sean, Trigger Mike, salute. We at the 3 hour mark. If y'all want to extend the show, please hit the Cash App. I'll give you another 5 minutes to do so. It's $60 to extend it. We've been here for 3 hours. We've been cooking. I think there's a lot more dope opinions that need to be presented, because this is, I think, just important in terms of the logics, right, that are being displayed here in terms of how we assess this and what we are adding to it as opposed to what is actual, right? I think that's really important. Flo, you was about to say something. I want to get Trigger Mike in.
Yeah. So, my question would be then, all the things that you just described, what does that tell us about this case? I mean, it doesn't actually give us any new information. It actually clouds what we know about it with what we've experienced somewhere else. So I would suggest that I don't deny that shit happened at all. I just don't. It's not relevant if we're truly assessing the situation at hand. That stuff is just going to cloud the perception of clarity on the issue.
And so,
go ahead.
well, that right there, Flo, is what I was asking too. Well, in a way, who introduced race in the first place? And what I'm finding is us, right? It's our personal experiences, right? And then we're coupling that and projecting it. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but that's just what's happening. And they're saying it has to be racial because here's what I know based on what I've seen or experienced. I'm not discounting it, Tommy or whomever else said it. I'm just saying I see that's what's happening. They could have a point. I'm not dismissing it, but I see that that's what's kind of coming into play a little bit when that's introduced. So,
Ham, just real quick, Ham, and that's the emotional.
It's fantastic. Go ahead.
And that's the emotional part of it, right? It's a lot of times where you have to remove yourself. And we do this often on the panel. Don't personalize it, right? Now, again, it's not to discount or whatever. Black people have this damn thing, man, to where we just cannot. You know what I mean? If it's a white person involved, we gotta throw the pitchforks and motherfucking torches, bro. Yeah, I just don't understand it. Yeah, because again, I can understand, from the history and these different things and so on and so forth. But a lot of us speak from a situation to where we never even experienced it. You feel me? I've never been. I mean, I've never had to step out the way of a white man in my life. You feel me? They get out my way, and we act as if we experienced Jim Crow South and all these different things. Now, to Tommy's point, there are some still sundown towns and shit in this country. I'm not saying there are some places where, hey, your black ass better not be there when the sun go down. That exists. But it's still few and far in between. We can't just try to, make it across the board where that's the norm.
You say fantastic. You say you never experienced racism?
That's not what I said. I said I never experienced a situation where I had to get out of a white man's way. That's what I said, Freezy. I never said I never experienced racism.
But you live in a state where a dude was rolled up in the mat and they told us that he crawled in there.
Oh, I guess it's my turn. What up, y'all? Good afternoon.
What up, Mike?
Yeah, man, this situation is sad though, because it happened here in Texas, so I knew about it. You know what I mean? I mean, my wife were talking about it, but it wasn't until like yesterday till I got to read the comments. I was like, what the hell is going on? Then I realized it turned into some kind of race war topic. And that's actually very sad, man. And like Hamp said, I go to read the comments, who's introducing race into it. And one of the points that I wanted to make about this is that it should never have turned racial. But the reason I believe that it did is because once again, we're trying to defend the indefensible. Somebody already said it, a kid died. There ain't no excuse for that. No excuse. The people who should be drilling this kid, nailing him to the wall, throwing the book at him are his own people. If you really want to be honest. It doesn't matter how he grew up. You don't defend the indefensible. Death, you see what I'm saying? Somebody died. When somebody dies or somebody commits murder, you make that known that is not to be tolerated within your bounds, right? If my own son did it, right? The same thing would happen to him. So that's why I'm like,
I just got a question. So, Mike, real quick, just a follow-up question. What you're saying? Indefensible being what exactly?
Murder.
Huh?
Murder.
So you've already made a determination on what happened, how it happened, and you're calling it murder, and you're saying don't defend murder.
That's what I'm saying. They said he brought a knife and he stabbed the boy in the chest, right?
Well, that did happen, but does the context matter to you, or is the end result the key?
It's the end result. It's the end result.
Okay, so if you
That's the
had
problem.
to kill, if somebody was accosting your child and you killed them, I walk up and say, Mike killed him. That nigga got to go to jail.
Yeah. And look. I'm going to
What?
jail. Hold on.
No, me.
I-
I'm saying
yeah,
that, but you actually killed the person in the process of them accosting your child. You're saying that I'm gonna look and say, Mike killed that person. Mike goes to jail. That's how it should work. Are you saying?
Yeah, I killed him.
Jesus Christ.
Like, wait, hold on. Are you saying that I'm supposed to be justified in killing because
Yeah.
it was
So
my
if somebody, let's say somebody's trying to steal, what I'm saying, steal your child, right? Like taken or something. So
okay, you mean like that?
yeah, accost is probably too soft of a word. I apologize. So
Okay,
they come
I
in and
got
steal your child in a white van.
Yeah, that's probably one of the only cases where you could be possibly justified.
Do you
Right?
think that
What
it's a
world
less,
do you live in?
it's less severe? Do you think it's a
One of
less
the
severe
only
thing
cases.
if the guy panicked and accidentally killed him?
Yeah, what I'm saying is like you're talking about a crime versus a crime, right? My reaction to a crime is committing another crime. That's probably the only thing justification we have in the court of law. Anyway, like, oh, they were trying to steal his child, so he used force to
So
subdue
Mike,
that man.
is your reaction to somebody putting their hands on you, you saying that your name being Trigger Mike, you gonna fight?
No, this is the point that I'm actually trying to get people to understand.
Go ahead.
From the context that was given to us on the news and everything that we know, the only way I do it in society across all groups of people is that if you violate the laws of escalation, you are wrong. If somebody talking shit to you, you can talk back. If somebody put their hands on you, you can hit back. Unless somebody pull out a deadly weapon and try to kill you, you can't use that level of force against them without consequence.
That's
All
not
right.
true.
So that's the reason why I said if
kids.
somebody gonna talk shit and get stabbed, the person that stabbed them is in the wrong and they need to go to jail.
Yeah,
That's
but,
not
I think,
true in
but
Texas.
just real quick, the major thing we gotta say is for kids. It's different for adults, bro. It's different for adults.
Well,
It's legal
Pastor,
for-
we kind of mine through that. We can get more examples of that, right? But I just know what we say, and we putting a heavier burden of responsibility on kids by saying we can shoot people who beat us up, but the kid can't shoot or
Right.
stab if they're getting beat up.
Yeah.
So I just want to understand that. Go ahead, Mike, and then Sean
I
had
just
dropped
want-
off, so
yeah,
I
I
want to
just
get
wanna
Sean in because he was
finish by
having
saying,
technical issues.
Yeah, my name is Trigger Mike. I carry everywhere I go. What I'm saying is I'm the last person to shoot. You cannot get me to pull out my deadly weapon by talking to me. Words don't mean shit. That's literally you got to go to jail behind that shit. I don't give a fuck what you said. I'm not pulling out my deadly weapon over
but
some
Mike,
words.
that don't
got
fit here
to do
because he was
something.
actually
So Austin,
He
all
touched
Austin
him.
Mick
He
Cal
touched
did was use his words.
Mike, that don't fit.
Hold on. So Mike, he put his hands on him.
What are you talking about?
I just want to make sure Mike knows that.
No,
before
what I'm saying is force escalation. That's what I'm saying. Words, hands, deadly weapon.
Oh,
Then-
so I gotta wait for him to produce it and then
Bro,
hit
come
me and
on,
then
dog.
okay.
Yeah,
well,
I
y'all
could
kidding
agree with
me.
that.
I'm sorry. Was there a deadly weapon?
No,
that's what I'm
Mike. What we're saying is, if
Killing.
you got the drop on me and you let me get the drop on you, that sounds stupid as fuck.
What I'm
If
saying is
you
like
let
how
me pull my hammer, you got to say, "Oh, you do have a gun. Let me go get one of my 6
Sir,
that I
hold
have
on
on
a
me
sec.
after
No,
I'm whooping your ass." That don't make because you waiting to respond, but this is real life situations.
But hold on, Ham. We talking about each individual occurrence. We're talking about how we should build a culture. So now, as you can see, kids are too scared to do fisticuffs with one another. If you say, Mike, I'm coming out, I got an issue, let's fight. You think I'm bringing a gun outside? We could even shake hands after we fist fight. That's what we used to do when we were kids, yes or no?
Yeah.
So we're building hold on. We're building a culture where somebody doesn't automatically have to get a force multiplier against somebody else. What the hell you bringing out a knife for? We fist fighting with one another.
Okay. Yeah. No. We. I understood that. We were talking about that earlier too. So okay, that's the premise. It just sounded a little bit like all the way kind of like obtuse, to be honest.
Yeah, I got you, but I'm talking about like culture building, Like what? Like your own son, your own dad would be like, you know, you get real mad, like you got bullied or some shit. You go pick up a hammer, but like, if you don't get your bitch ass back outside, go fight that nigga. Go punch him in the face.
Yeah,
Right? So that's
I
what I'm
understand.
talking about.
That's what you're actually saying. Okay, that's
Yeah, I
cleaner.
get that.
That's
Yeah.
cleaner. That's cleaner.
Yeah.
So I want to get real quick because I know Sean and Freezy want to say something. Sean had dropped off like a couple times. He was having technical difficulties. So I just want to make sure he get his 2 cents. Then we get Shad, Freezy real quick, and we'll get the bean. Go ahead, Sean.
What's up, y'all? I don't think this has anything to do with race from the, let's say, the assailant's side, the black kid's side. I don't. From what I'm reading on CBS News, he walked into a tent. The kid Metcalf was already in the tent. Metcalf told him to leave the tent. Why he told him to leave the tent, I don't know. Then for something made him grab the kid that walked in, the black kid, and so he got stabbed from there. That's the tricky part of it. Like, and all of y'all are making really good arguments that's making me think twice about all of this. And Mike, I think you were talking about proportionality in terms of his response with the knife, because there are stand your ground laws in Texas. So you don't have to retreat. You can literally stand your ground in Texas. Then, Mike, what you said, that's the tricky part. Was his reaction proportional as it relates to him being grabbed? And only he can make that case. That's going to be his job, his attorney's job, to prove that he felt imminent danger and so he acted. You know what I'm saying? If he chooses self-defense. But it's the thing in terms of precedents. Why isn't the precedent that we're trying to set? Don't be a fucking bully. Don't touch people. Because you don't know the reaction. You don't know what people can do. Don't fucking touch people. He literally just walked into a tent. If you tell him to leave and he don't leave, then why is it your job to feel that you can touch him? You know what I'm saying?
Sean,
They got security. They got police.
Sean, on top of that, as you continue to expound on your thought, right? Because I don't want to derail you. But with the fact, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, him and his brother don't even do track. They just at the track meet.
What? I didn't know that part. Wow.
Was Karmelo doing track either though? I don't know if either one of them was.
It looks like it was at, well, what deductive reasoning tells me that it was at the Memorial High School is because they had random people there. So generally speaking, the football players ain't traveling to another school to a track meet. But if you get out of school when the track meet's popping, say again.
It was a track meet championship. That's what it said online. It was a track meet.
Okay. So, and it looked like their tent was down near the near the track. So I think it's probably their school. Because it said well, we can look it up. It said Kirkendall Stadium, right? Go ahead, Sean. You can finish your thought. Go ahead.
It said that the witness that was sitting with Metcalf said that they were sitting under their school's tent. So let's just assume that Anthony walked into their school's tent. What gave him? Who deputized him and said that he had to physically grab somebody and get them up out of there? Now, once again, y'all alluded to this, and this is where I think it gets a lot cloudier. You got it, bro.
No, you got it. I just want to make sure you got this information as you expound. Kirkendall Stadium was originally called Memorial Stadium. They go to Frisco Memorial. Mm-hmm. So based on that reasoning, that this track meet was at their school.
At their school. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes perfect sense.
Let me just add this to your point, Sean.
I made sure I cut him off. Not cut him, but I interjected twice while he was trying to finish. Go ahead, Sean.
If the 17-year-old Sherelle had walked into that tent, would we be saying the same thing? And y'all said this earlier. Would we be saying the same thing with the premise hold up? If 17-year-old Sherelle walked in and this same football player told her to leave, then grabbed her and she defended herself. If your answer is that she had to defend herself, then why would we change it just because this was a boy? You know what I'm saying?
It changes everything though, Sean.
It can't change nothing. It can't change nothing.
Yes, it does.
It changes everything.
So it changes the proportional force, Sean. Like you said yourself, proportional force. A girl is not.
Let me say this. I gotta run.
A girl is not. A girl or a woman is never going to be seen as capable of it to give a man equal proportional force.
Before y'all finish, Mr. Fasad, before you finish, the police report showed that this boy was 130 pounds, but on his huddle it says he's 160 pounds. So if they weighed him, because they weigh you when you get there, if he's 130 pounds, if that be true, the white boy was 228 pounds. So literally 100 pounds difference. At what point do you consider proportional force?
That's a great point.
Yeah,
That
but
was
him,
such a great point, man.
Let me
And
let me
three inches taller too.
I
let me
understand
just
that.
say this,
I'm not
Sean.
him. If me and you get into a situation, him, they not gonna give a fuck. Your ass going.
They not gonna give a.
Yeah.
But look,
Yeah.
this is all.
250 pounds though.
Y'all do realize this is all relevant information, right? But the way we got to teach it, because what y'all are trying to do is like y'all are trying to teach kids street code and how we need to move to maintain our respect. Like I agree with you on that, but I'm giving the advice on how to stay out of jail. I teach this shit for a living. All right. The way you have to stay out of jail, that's why you made the point on my point, Sean. You said there are stand your ground laws, and within those stand your ground laws, unless it's on your property, blow their fucking head off if they on your property and they make a threat. That's when the laws of escalation apply. So I'm trying to teach kids how to stay out of jail. And I know that y'all really care about that shit. So when we in the street, everything y'all saying, that shit can go. Right? But when we in the world and we're trying to have our kids grow up into functional, productive citizens that got to interact with people of different race, different size, different perceptions, different biases and shit, they got to do what I say if they're going to stay out of jail.
Mike,
Anytime you get into a situation like that, hold on. This is the force proportionality thing. Anytime you get in a situation like that where you outnumbered, him using what we call a force multiplier, right? They put your hands on you. Now you pulled out a knife. That means that he likely thought he was threatened to the point where physical harm was going to come to him, meaning like he thought he was going to get jumped by a bunch of different fucking dudes. So this is what I'm going to teach my son. This is what I'm going to say. You see a situation where you outnumbered, you're already stupid as fuck for being there, number one. But now you see a situation where you can't win, you go force multiply with your group. Is there anybody else you can go get? Because now it's fisticuffs on fisticuffs. Nobody's going to, like, you see what I'm saying? Nobody's going to jail for life behind that shit. So that's all I'm saying about the
unless somebody get hit the wrong way, falling down.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like you got your dudes. Let me go get my dudes. Since y'all want to be up here squadding up, because I can't force multiply, stab you in the chest, and not go to jail.
Let me say this. What you just said, Trigger Mike, was so negligent and so ignorant. What you just said. I'm gonna tell you why. He would have been more liable if he would have went and got some more guys. Cause now you done put yourself in a situation where you don't even know what your homeboys finna do. No. You don't even know what you don't even know what all these other guys is gonna do.
No, Freezy. No,
listen. Let me finish, bro. You giving the wrong message, bro. That's not what he was supposed to did.
I didn't say that was what he was supposed to do.
You're telling him to go get his gang and have a gang war. No, bro. No, that's not what he's supposed to do, bro. That's so crazy. And hold on. And another thing is, that's more proof that it would have been premeditated. If he would have actually left the scene and came back with his homeboys, do you know that would have looked worse in court?
And that's not how conflict escalates. Nobody's gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah, you go.
But hold on. What I'm giving you is a proportionality scenario, Freezy. What
but
I'm
y'all
saying
be so technical, y'all be sounding crazy as hell.
All right, you really want to know what I think? Get the fuck up out of Dodge, then, bro. Get out of Dodge.
Now you want to say that? First you said go to the gangs of New York. Now get the fuck up out of Dodge. Which is
what I'm saying is you gonna let somebody jump you?
Hell no! If I got a pocket knife, I might hit him one time too. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
But you going to jail then, Freezy?
No, I'm not. Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
You going to fucking jail?
This is what I disagree with you about earlier. You said you don't do a crime. You don't match a crime with a crime. First of all, we don't even know that if that what Karmelo Anthony did was a crime yet. That's to be proved in court. But you're going to convict him right now because of your bias. Yes, you're saying that what Karmelo Anthony did is a crime right now, and that has not been proven yet.
I didn't say match a crime with a crime.
Yes, you did. Roll the tape back.
Hey, Mike, this is not very Trigger Mike of you with this argument. Look,
hold on. I did not say match a crime with a crime.
Hamp $500.
No, Hamp said if somebody accosted your child, and I said if somebody did a crime,
he said responding to a crime with a crime.
Okay, but he's correlating that with Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf.
Yeah,
right. So it's still what it is.
He's saying commit the crime. If you do something, you go into jail. His premise is to avoid jail and get back to the premise of fighting fire with fire, essentially.
Freezy. Hold on. So I am technical. That's the way that I think. This boy had a weapon on school grounds that he stabbed someone in the chest and they died. He
It
committed.
wasn't illegal to have the weapon, Mike.
Hold on. What I'm saying is he committed a fucking crime. Let the DA sort out which one it was.
No,
That's
100%.
a crime.
But see, here's the thing, right?
That's what I'm saying. You said it earlier.
But here's the thing. You're speaking on crime, right? So I just don't want to conflate the knife on school grounds with that being a crime, right?
Exactly.
Because Flo found it in this the Texas statutes that having a knife under 5.5 inches is not a crime to have on you on school grounds.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hold on. During sporting events.
Yes, Mr. Technical.
You can carry a blade of 5.5 or less on school ground.
Wait. At his age, you can do that.
Any minor can.
You're killing me, dog.
That's my mistake. But you can't kill somebody with it, so it's still a crime for reason.
But look, Mike,
bro, see what I mean?
Problem, bro. You trying to solve for keeping people out of prison, but we should be solving for not being a bully and keeping your hands to your fucking self. That way, this shit don't escalate. You feel me? Keep your motherfucking.
Say that again. I'm sorry, Sean. I was reading.
I'm saying
we should
be solving for keeping your motherfucking hands to yourself. That way, shit don't have to escalate.
No, I'm 100% with you on that.
But that's what I'm saying. Hold on, that's already taught, bro. So I'm not trying to take away from it. This is what I'm talking about. Everybody get taught keep your hands to yourself. But how many fights you been in, Sean?
A lot.
All right, so that's what I'm saying. That's what that shit is moot. You teach your kids to do. Hold on, you teach your kids to do the right thing. Does any kid do the right thing 100% of the time?
No, nobody. Yeah,
right.
Nobody does.
So what I'm saying is, when we talking about, of course, the man said for all the shit everybody making up, the white boy didn't have no history of bullying, no criminal background, none of this shit that y'all saying. That's some shit that just got made up on the internet because of the race shit. Okay, the white boy is fucking. I'm not saying he's a model student, but he's definitely not this just horrible fucking person. All right. Everybody's taught to keep them hands to themselves, but we've all been in fights. Anybody on this as kids? Anybody on here not been on fight as a kid? Raise your hand. All right. So even though my mama told me and my daddy told me keep my hands to myself, if somebody put hands on me, hey, you protect yourself, right? And hell, what HAMP said, shit, you don't respond, you be the first to motherfucking bomb, right? So what I'm saying is we cannot promote to the kids that, oh, if a motherfucker put their hands on you, kill them. That's crazy, bro. It sets a horrible precedent. So this keep your hands to yourself shit is moot, bro. We already know this. It's gonna happen.
It doesn't. Well, it's not. If he put his hands on you, kill him. I think the lesson would be, if you put your hands on people, here are the possibilities.
Facts.
Exactly. That's my exact point.
Facts.
You jump to the other side of it. I'm talking from this side. Exactly what Ham just said. Like, look, for you, bro. Like, I got a homie that's 6'6", and so I told him, look, bro, he was a knockout nigga in the hood. I'm telling him that these young niggas ain't gonna let you knock him out, bro. You gotta chill on that. Somebody gonna shoot you in your face, my nigga. So my lesson is that, hey, shit come with that. If you want to put your hands on people, niggas gonna respond, and you don't know how they gonna respond. That's my exact point. You don't know what's gonna happen.
But Sean, that's the same. That's the whole premise of the same. That's the same things. Keep your hands to yourself. That gets explained in the process. You cannot determine how a person responds to you and your response. That's something you tell. It's part and parcel. It goes hand in hand. So what I'm saying though is, most importantly, is to be like, instead of saying don't put your hands on nobody, the message needs to be like, hey man, don't go too far, because if you go too far, now your life on the line. Don't put your hands on nobody. The message needs to be don't go too far. You got to mute the background, bro.
He got to fix his shit. Shaw, did you get a chance to jump in before I get beans?
I just wanted to say real quick, I think what people's concern is that the assumption is that everyone's not treated the same way under the law. So when it's a black kid and a white kid, most of us automatically think, despite what the context may be, he's going to be convicted, he'll be charged, he'll be in jail. And I think that's why it becomes kind of this conversation, because we've seen that historically as well. The George Zimmerman case is a good example of that. Like, That's just we all joke about. Imagine a black man following a white kid through his neighborhood and killing him. The results wouldn't be the same. Again, that's an assumption, but also we've seen historically what has happened with people that the law does not always protect everyone equal. So I feel like a lot of people are dealing with their part of it versus what happened between the two guys. It's like we're almost already sure he's gonna go to jail, the black kid, despite all this context we're finding out now. That's what people are concerned about. That's what I'm assuming.
But so I don't know, but I'm gonna say this, man. Again, a lot of this stand your ground shit, more of it fails than it's successful. All right, and that's on both parts. Down here in Florida, there's been two like crazy stand your ground cases. The one to where the man shot the dude outside of the store or whatever for parking in the handicap spot. Initially, they didn't fucking prosecute him. They prosecuted, but he ended up getting 20 years. Another case was down here where the boy was playing the music in his car. Some old white man shot him. He tried to do stand your ground. He also lost, and I think he got life in prison. So again, this is the emotionality that we talk about, where y'all think that like the justice system is just against niggas and this and bro. Nobody covers when the white people go to jail because it's not sensationalizing.
It ain't just emotional. You love stats. Look at the information, particularly how they look at particularly black boys. They look at us as more dangerous. This is studies have been done to prove this with some of the bias that police force have. Think about the Tamir Rice case.
That's across the board, though. Shad, you know what, though, Shad? Because I do know the stats. Guess where it gets worse at, Shad? Where it gets worse at, brother? Tell me where it gets worse.
What do you mean?
Tell me where the police treatment of black people gets worse, or black men specifically gets worse. Black ran police forces, Baltimore, Memphis. So that's what I'm saying. So you can't have it both ways. If it does not change when it's a black police force or a white police force, it's just policing.
I got it.
Instead of the white police force.
I got to get Beans in, but all that actually still mans his point. It's fantastic, right? It's because of how the black man is looked at, right?
Right, exactly.
We even admitted that we look at each other differently.
It's dangerous
when we walking down the street.
The black man, it's the black man's fault, and that goes back to what I really told you. We dehumanize each other.
It
don't get no better when we policing ourselves.
No, 100%. But it does still man the point that the black man is looked at differently than the other men. Which is why we come to these negative conclusions. It's not emotional, it's factual based on what you're saying, quite literally, if we do it to each other. Let me get Beans in.